When my cousin's best friend committed suicide, I didn't know how to react. I was at the same time sad, disturbed, frustrated, and surprisingly unsurprised. I know the data showing rising youth suicide rates, and I know the struggle teens have with mental illness. But even this couldn't prepare me for the death of a girl I never met in a small town outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I may not have been surprised by the tragedy, but I was still moved by it, disturbed that someone so young could do something so final. But that's the real problem. As a society, we've been conditioned not only to be unsurprised by tragic events, but also to be unmoved. I'm a victim of this myself. I've gotten to a point where I'll see a headline about a mass shooting and keep scrolling, not really giving it a second thought. But I know it's not just me. We see headlines tossing around death tolls like sports stats and comparing mass shootings to each other. But nothing could ever compare to them. Even if the scenarios are exactly the same and the death counts are identical, every life lost has a unique and immeasurable impact on the world. Every suicide is a teenager who will never get to joke with their friends, make questionable decisions, or fall in love again. Every mass shooting leaves families and friends grieving, life goals unrealized, and a million words unsaid. We can't quantify a tragedy because we can't quantify tragedy. But what happens when an event comes along that is so destructive, so wide-reaching, and so ongoing that it seems the only way to process it is through dates and a death toll? COVID has taken over 500,000 lives in America alone in the past year. How can we not get numb to that? How can we stay sensitized to a number of that sheer magnitude? It seems like our hearts weren't created to cope with such tragedy. I'll be honest, I don't even think twice when I see the latest death count. I don't stop to think about what 1,500 deaths a day means. I feel like I can't. Like I can't empathize the loss of a person I've never met, who never impacted my life in any way. But I can. We all can. I never knew my cousin's friend, but I was still able to feel sorrow when she killed herself, because I thought about how unbearable it would be without my best friend. And therein lies the true key to resensitizing ourselves to tragedy. We need to remember that 17 people killed in a school shooting can't even begin to describe the true loss. We need to separate our narratives of the events from spreadsheets and trends and take a second in reverent consideration of the fact that every one of those names was a human. We share a special bond with that person because our humanness is what connects us all. But we lose a part of our humanness when we reduce tragedy to statistics. It can be hard to grieve, but there is something deeply human about feeling grief. So don't be afraid to grieve, to take that second glance, to reconnect with your humanness. Because in our inhumane world, we can all stand to be a little more human.